I can tell you with just full transparency, many of the teachers in this building could leave tomorrow and make $10,000 to $20,000 more, but they don't. And the why is because being able to be a true educator and to really be able to teach and feel of value, I think is why a lot of people, choose to stay.
You're just creating an environment of learning, of growing, and ensuring that like everyone is happy. Hi, thank you for joining yet another episode of Get Set with Lissette. This is where we have inspiring conversations that empower you to get set. And today is a special one. We are actually on site at one of the newer schools here in our local central Pennsylvania area, PA STEAM Academy. I am sitting with Jennifer Morrison, CEO and principal of Pennsylvania STEAM Academy, located in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. PA STEAM Academy is a nonprofit charter school that opened in the fall of 2021. The goal of the PA STEAM Academy is to make education fun, to make education engaging, and significantly strengthen the city and the region with an innovative approach to education. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining me.
Thank you. This is a lot of fun for me.
I'm so excited.
This is the first.
This is the first for you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to be the first and to stay here and have a conversation. I think this conversation is extremely important. Well, education in general is an important topic. And I think with things that are happening and everything that's going on, like highlighting the importance of education and highlighting the importance of what it is that you and educators all around the world do is just an important topic to have and a conversation that needs to always be at the forefront of individuals, because what you're doing is setting up for the future.
Yeah.
Setting up all of the future leaders, future workers, future innovators. Like those are what you guys are dealing with. So I feel like this conversation is beyond important. However, before I start every episode, just to get the nerves out and to make sure that you feel comfortable, I like to do a little icebreaker.
Okay.
It's just, it's kind of like are you this or that, okay? Don't overthink it, just what comes to mind. Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Really?
Yes.
My kind of girl. Same. Morning person or night owl?
Both.
Really?
Gotta be.
You're like, I gotta do it all.
Early to rise, late to bed.
Hey, do what you gotta do. Would you consider yourself introvert or extrovert?
I think extrovert.
Okay. I love that. And on this last one, there is no wrong answer. Are you going to watch the YouTube or listen to the podcast?
Probably listen. Nobody likes to watch themselves on camera. At least I don't.
You're like, you don't want to have any idea of what it is or what it looks like. You're going to be great and it's going to look phenomenal. So stop it. But okay, so that just kind of gets the nerves out. You feeling better?
Great, I'm ready.
Ready to keep the conversation
Absolutely.
going? Okay, I love that. Well, before I go into getting to know you and your background, I wanted to kind of just set context for the conversation. Because again, as we said, PA STEAM Academy is a charter school, and the focus is on STEAM, which I love. Which is science, technology, education, the arts, and mathematics. And we're going to talk about that in general. I wanted to first just kind of provide some context, some information regarding it, and just an idea of the importance of it.
Sure.
So in the research that I found, it said a study focusing on high poverty elementary schools revealed that students receiving just 9 hours of STEAM instruction showed notable improvements in science achievement. Schools implementing STEAM learning have reported boosts in student engagement, improved test scores, and higher teacher satisfaction. Now, before we kind of dig into who you are and your journey to this amazing school, does that resonate? Do you feel like, how does that?
Well, I guess when we talk a little bit more about me, you'll know that I am the A in STEAM. I represent the arts piece of that.
Okay.
But the STEAM as a model and that research that you highlighted is exactly the type of research that our founding school members really dug deep into when designing what our school and what our curriculum would look like. And we do know that kids don't learn their best when they're sitting still in a seat, staring at somebody just womp-womp-wing to them all day long.
Right.
So our model is very much a project-based model. All of those STEAM components get kids out of their seat, get them moving, get them touching, get them engaging in the content. And that study is exactly right. That's exactly what happens is test scores improve, the quality of the classrooms improve because behaviors decrease because kids are engaged.
Exactly.
And I think if there's any piece of our curriculum that shines, it's that engagement piece of it. It's fun. They want to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you want to do something, then you're going to give your all and you're going to be present, focused, and in that moment.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Okay.
And then just to take it one step farther, they learn about things that are real world applications so they can see themselves and feel a part of the content.
That right there, that's a whole nother piece. And I love that because then you're highlighting, it's not even just the information, it's your ability to also connect to, the ability to relate, the ability to be present. Oh, I love that. So, okay, so in all of this, now I love to always go backwards first and get to know the person that we're having a conversation with. So who is Jennifer? Like what raised, where were you from? Like, let's start that conversation.
Okay. So born and raised in Dauphin County. I grew up in Elizabethtown.
Okay.
Went to Lower Dauphin High School. So not too far down the road.
Not at all. Yeah.
But my education career has always been in the Harrisburg and surrounding communities. So for a very long time, I don't have to give that number of years, do I?
Look, girl, no, not at all. Trust me, I get it. We're all trying to keep our age a little.
Yeah. Well, I actually, ironically, this where I sit today was never my goal.
Ever?
No. In fact, being in education was not even on my radar. So it's funny how the world, puts you in places, at the right time. And I do feel that is very true to my life. I think that this was, somebody had a bigger purpose than I think I knew at the time. But I had degrees in psychology and art, and I was actually heading to get a master's in art therapy because I loved art. Art was healing for me as a child. And wanted to go into art therapy, but I was young.
Right.
I was in love. And I wasn't ready to leave my boyfriend at the time to go to LA to begin classes for art therapy.
Because that's all the way on the other
all
side.
the way over.
Got it. Okay.
And so I decided to take a year and just get a job and work and figure out what we were going to do and if we wanted to relocate out there was going to be a program a little bit closer.
Okay.
And so I took a job as a TSS. Now that's somebody that's a support person for a student in schools.
I was a TSS. Okay. Yeah.
And so I had a client in the morning in Harrisburg, and I had a client in the afternoon in Lebanon.
Okay.
And started with the student that I had in Harrisburg, and I was at another charter school in Harrisburg. Oh, wow. And very, very quickly fell in love with the kids, the classroom that I was in, the staff, and I overheard the principal say, I can't find an art teacher. And it, kind of struck me because I had been in the school now for a couple of weeks. I was already loving this experience.
Everything, the experience that you're around, yeah.
And I really felt like I could, in my mind, be an art therapist in a school where I was just the art teacher because I think you can go so much farther, in your art. And so I just casually sort of asked, what would I need to do? And he said, well, put in your resignation. And
I know that's right. He said, leave that. Before we start this.
And he said, let's emergency cert you. You already have an undergraduate degree. And so that fast forwarded to me going back to school, getting my education piece, getting a master's in education, and being in a classroom for probably 19 or 20 years. Wow. So, and of those years in the classroom, I was always an art teacher, hence that A in STEAM.
Okay, I was going to ask that because I was going to say, I find it always so interesting, the journey of where life takes us, because similarly, I was on a whole different route than where I'm at today. But my goal had been, I wanted to be a criminal profiler.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
But same thing, circumstances happen, situations occur, and I don't believe that things are ever coincidence, but rather design, that you land where you are. So I love the fact that you made a decision personally that then led you to now falling into opportunity, that from that point on, you just remained in education and stayed as an art teacher. How did that continue to?
Yeah. So, working with the same age level I was at the first school for, I believe, 16 years. And I was doing some art classes on the side outside of the regular ed classroom. And I was starting to get an itch to work with some older students.
Sure.
And so I put my resume out there, and I ended up transitioning to a high school, a middle school and a high school. So I had a taste of all of the grades
at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a program that there was something called the No Child Left Behind Act. And Pennsylvania had a ton of money left over that they needed to sort of use, or they were going to lose it.
Exactly.
And they looked into where were the biggest needs in education.
Okay.
And they targeted 4 of the lowest performing districts in the Commonwealth and in the area in Pennsylvania.
Fair.
And decided that where they should focus the money is one of the challenges, particularly in urban schools, is high turnover of all staff, but particularly in administration.
Really?
And, if you can't keep a solid leader,
correct,
you can't always impact the change that you want, because things are constantly changing. There's never enough time to really, grow root and make that happen.
That takes time in order to have that. Right.
And so they looked for teachers that were interested in moving into an administrative side.
Okay.
And I took full advantage of that.
I love that.
And had some wonderful experiences at that middle school and high school.
Okay.
And so I ended up then coming out of the classroom and moving into an admin role there.
Okay.
And then from there, I am now here at PA STEAM, opening up PA STEAM and starting here, growing roots here.
Yeah. What was it that prompted you to say, let me take advantage? Like, what was it about what was presented that you were like, you know what, that's actually something I'm interested in pursuing?
So over the years, and this is not just one moment in time, it was sort of an accumulation of things that I've seen, things that I've experienced. I think I started to get angry. I started to get angry at what our students had been offered.
Right.
Yeah. And I saw personally that sometimes urban school districts tend to be places where really, really bad teachers can hide. And
that's it.
And it's important to talk about it, because I don't think you'll ever interview any teacher that won't tell you that behavior and the ability to control behavior is a factor on why they may or may not continue to be in education. It's a problem right now.
Fair.
And I saw in my career over many schools that, as long as an adult could hold down the fort and the door could be shut, and there was no, challenges being brought to the administration in that room, it didn't seem to really matter what happened behind that door. And that's a disservice to our children.
Absolutely.
And I think our children are bright, more than capable, and need opportunities and need to be put in front of educators that want to be educators and want to be able to truly teach, not just babysit. And I think across the world, there's a lot of both, but I think we have a lot of babysitting happening right now.
100%. And I think you hit a really good point, and I just wanted to highlight that, because it's that idea of like the chicken or the egg, because yes, there is a concern and there has been a consistent issue, and I feel like it's only gotten worse when it comes to behaviors and behavior modifications and the ability to control behaviors. And like I said, I too had gone down the TSS path because there were students that needed more assistance and that needed to be there. So yes, that's a real thing. And yet there's also a lot of individuals that I believe that have kind of like put their hands up and given up, and like you said, are able to kind of hide behind, well, I can't be effective because of behavior, and just kind of just throwing their hands up. So kudos to being like, no, like they deserve better. They deserve more.
Both sides of that deserve better. The teachers deserve better. Yes. And our students deserve better.
Right.
And teachers deserve to be able to give that high quality instruction, and our students deserve environments where they can be in a place where they can receive it.
Absolutely. That, let me tell you, that in of itself is all of it. So who do, if there's a who, maybe there's an accumulation of who, like who was your inspiration? Who was your guiding light to say, I don't want to, because I'm sure you too in this entire career have felt the hurts, have felt the backlash, have felt the pressure. What was your guiding light? Who was the inspiration to keep it moving forward?
Well, I think, again, knowing that education wasn't really where my trajectory was going,
right.
I can look back and be reflective on the teachers that did the hard work in my own life, right? I had, gosh, I don't even know how old she would be now, but Pat Eberly.
Okay.
She was an elementary phys ed teacher.
Okay.
And I was the fat kid in school. I was the little chunky girl that, sports and gym class was not my favorite.
That was not your favorite.
I was the kid that faked illnesses and went to the nurse's office until the nurse caught on to what I was doing.
Exactly.
And, that teacher, instead of forcing me to do things that I was uncomfortable with in front of the room with all of my peers, she always picked me for her team in the gym class, and she stayed late after school because I wanted to run and jump on that trampoline and jump over that foam thing like every other kid.
Right.
I just didn't want to do it in front of anybody because I didn't want to be made fun of.
Because you didn't want to be made fun of.
And look cool. Oh, yeah. And so looking back, folks like her make me, I think, a better teacher and administrator today because I remember what it was like from a kid. Right. I remember how it felt when I had that trusted adult that did something, positive for me.
Right.
And, I think I have the best team here at PA STEAM because I think all of my staff do exactly what that teacher did and many, many more in my life.
Right.
So, I think, you have to have the heart for it and you have to understand what every kid needs and what every kid is thinking. And
absolutely.
There are no two alike. And that's a hard thing for a teacher to have 20 students and 20 unique needs.
Absolutely.
But we have to focus on their unique needs and make sure we're giving them exactly what they need to be their best, most authentic, self student.
And who they are. Because it's not just the curricula in and of itself. It's all of the outside factors that really play a role in how a child really grows up.
I always say to everybody that the curriculum is the last thing that's important to me.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, it's very important.
Yes.
But I believe that as a school, what we do very well here at PA STEAM is we prioritize character first. Because if we don't teach our we don't teach our children how to just be good human beings and to figure out who they are as, everybody is not going to be a doctor.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be a welder.
Right.
We all have something that makes us special, and it's our job to pull that out of our students and also to show them to appreciate it in all of their peers.
Right.
And that character first, lens, when you do everything through teaching children about empathy and integrity and accountability and hard work and determination.
Right. Yeah.
The academic stuff is the easy part. That all comes because their minds are right.
Right.
Their health is right. They feel good in their own skin, and our classrooms are in control.
So I just want to highlight what you just said because that was a gem right there. Because it's not just about the curriculum, like you said. And in fact, like that, well, yes, it's important to have the education and have the knowledge and everything else, but you as a person have to be whole.
Yes.
You have to be okay in order to absorb what you're trying to pour into them. So kudos to creating an environment that actually A, acknowledges that, B, supports it, right? And then implements a structure around it so that these kids can be whole people that are also now ready to learn and receive the education. Because I feel like that's the secret sauce. Like, that's it.
We actually call it the secret.
No, you're lying.
So that's great that you said that. And we always say it's the secret sauce of PA STEAM, but it really is.
Oh, wow.
Part of everything that we do.
100%. Because in speaking to you and just hearing it from you coming out, it's almost like an aha moment that I've just had. That's why I was like, I need to just like highlight it again, because you're right. Like, how much easier is it to actually learn something when you're actually okay? Yeah. Like, when all other parts of you okay. I mean, that's me as an adult.
Well, like, and us as adults, I mean, we have our own problems. There's nobody that is exempt from life, right? Exactly. Life happens. We all have things. But, our students have life that sometimes they don't have a choice to have, right? So they are given a series of circumstances, and it's our role here as a partner with the family to make sure that our students understand that whatever those circumstances are, the circumstances don't define you. You define you. And how do we work with our circumstances to get to where we need to be? That was a good one too.
That was I will tell you, I get so like when people say things so I live by the quote, be the change you wish to see in the world, Gandhi. And so that is what it sounds like the premise of this entire place is. Like, you're being exactly the change that needs to happen, and you're seeing people for exactly who they are. You're seeing students for who they are, and you're not allowing circumstance and situation to dictate opinion or belief of said individual. You're looking past it, and you're getting to the root of it, and you're pulling out the best in the actual individual. And now you're able to, once you get that kid out and into their own self and into their own skin, and understanding that they are their best project. Yeah. Like, that's life changing.
And of course, I'm not going to give you names, but I'm going to tell you this. We've had several students come our way that when you read on paper what's presented, by all intents purposes, you would be nervous. Right? Okay. Here we go. This friend is... This is going to be a challenge. Right. And I'll tell you that kiddos that come to us with a history of behaviors, when they come into our environment, those behaviors disappear. I can imagine. Because their needs are met. They have what was missing. And so I always laugh when, somebody says, "Did you read this?" I said, "Don't even read that. Give them time to acclimate to our environment," because it's true. I mean, and we've seen it with countless students.
Okay. Like, I could keep going down that rabbit hole, but I want to give the full idea. So I'm trying to think how I want to say this. Okay. So with us we've gone left, and I love the left that we've taken, because like I told you, the conversations is just important, and it's important to highlight why this school is already in such a short time having such a significant difference, because your way of approaching it is so different. And so I absolutely love that. Now, in that same regard, I wanted to then ask, I'm trying to pick which one. Here we go. So I saw and read that the school was founded by career educators and community leaders with years of research and thought into creating this innovative and strong curriculum that you have. Can you explain, like, what did that take to create something as innovative as you have created? And then how do you plan to continue to be innovative, to be at the forefront of education and build it out? Yeah. So this is mind-blowing.
There were many, many hands that were in the original development of PA STEAM, and my hands were not part of that original team. I sort of came in the middle.
Because that was my next question. Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
And one thing that I can, say that sometimes what happens is schools are founded on community members and people that want good, but might not necessarily have their foot fully in education.
Fair.
They might be a banker, a community advocate, something, another school that I had worked at before, it was started by a group of parents that wanted better for their students. So
amazing.
Yeah. But I think one thing that's very powerful for PA STEAM is that founding team, they were career educators.
Okay.
Former teachers turned principals turned superintendents who have seen and been a part of and been in the trenches, if you will, of education.
Yes.
Knows what works and knew what didn't work.
Right.
And then in addition, we had a community member who was invested in improving the Midtown community and had this beautiful building available.
Right.
And what's the first and the fastest way to improve a community? It's through education. Because that is continual. It's going to always build and grow the next, round of this community. And unfortunately, in this area, while there's been a lot of very high quality development, a lot of homes being renovated, neighborhoods being transformed. What had been happening is a lot of families, when they had school-age children, they looked outside of this community for education.
Okay.
And so now we are an option in this community for families. And I've heard that more times than, I could tell you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness our student got a spot, because now we don't have to move.
Exactly.
So that tells you people, are concerned about the educational landscape.
Right.
They are concerned for their students' experience.
Absolutely.
And, we hope that we can be that, that big piece of change here in Midtown.
Absolutely. So in that regard, can you also then just discuss how an individual actually applies for the school? Like what does it take to get into the school, and where does it encompass? Because I know we talked about the entire area. So talk about what that looks like for individuals.
So anybody can apply to PA STEAM, and we are it's a free school. There's no tuition here. We have an online application, but you're welcome to stop in our office and pick up a paper copy. And we accept applications every year up until April 1st.
Okay.
Now, our charter, the language of our charter, we do have to prioritize Harrisburg city residents.
Right.
So Harrisburg city residents, and if they are enrolling a kindergartner, are poised to be in the best position to get in, right?
Okay.
And but anybody from any outside surrounding district is certainly welcome to apply.
Okay.
The rule is that you can be provided a bus or transportation if you live within a 10-mile radius of our building. So, but if a district that you might live in a district where that district doesn't offer busing, you would have to figure out a way to get your child here, because we wouldn't be able to have a bus for you.
Because that's that 10-mile radius.
Yes. The host school districts provide the transportation for charter school students.
Okay.
So, so anybody can apply. We don't look at any of those applications till April 1. And then what we do is we sort them into two piles.
Okay.
Harrisburg residents, everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
And in an ideal world, every year I'm going to have 80 kindergarten seats open. The only group of individuals that would take a priority over anybody that applied are siblings of currently enrolled students. So if I have any incoming kindergarten students of siblings already in the building, they get the first seats, and then I fill the remainder. So if I don't have enough Harrisburg applicants to fill all those seats, all of the Harrisburg gets in, and then we do a lottery for everybody that's remaining.
Okay.
And but I will tell you that the last couple years we've had so many Harrisburg applicants that even Harrisburg residents have had to be, placed on the wait list.
On the wait list. Wow.
And once a student is in, you're in. You don't have to reapply.
100%.
But what happens is, typically most don't leave.
Fair.
And so you just keep moving up in the grade levels, which means I have very few, if ever, openings in a first, a second, third, fourth, or fifth grade.
Gotcha.
So kindergarten, if you have an incoming kindergartner, now's your chance.
In that same regard, can you also discuss the structure of your classrooms? Because I find it really unique, and I find it to be very imperative to just shine a light on the fact, what your classroom structures look like, and then the why behind why it was so important for you to ensure that it was structured as such.
Yeah, so that founding team that we just spoke about, that was in our research, a student to teacher ratio matters, because what we just talked about, every student is unique and different, and we want to give every kid what they need where they are. And so when you're a teacher doing that with 20 students alone, that's a challenge. That's a tall order. And so our model here is a teacher and a success coach in every classroom, which brings our student ratio to 10 to 1, 10 students to 1 adult. And that success coach, we call them success coaches because we don't see them just as a paraprofessional. And lots of schools do have paraprofessionals. And I'm not knocking paraprofessionals. They're very valuable, highly needed in all schools. We call our paras success coaches, though, because we believe that they're a critical component of the success of that classroom. They're not just an adult to take a student to the bathroom or to the nurse. They're running small groups. They are co-teaching. They're supporting the students that as the teacher's instructing, they're walking around and giving support. They're that second caring adult because, not every adult is for every kid. So a student might resonate more with their success coach than they do their classroom instructor. When I speak to the students, I say your teachers because I look at them both as such. And so I think it helps that ratios just makes everything much more workable. We can get a lot more accomplished.
And can we just also highlight the fact, just the way that you are highlighting and ensuring that kids are all individualistic and that they're all identified as such, and they're uniquely made, and they all have all of their needs met. I love the fact that you're also giving both, like you said, what would have been the standard paraprofessional, but your success coaches and teachers, that same regard, because now you've got two professionals who also feel validated and seen, and two professionals who are also going to more than likely also feel satisfied in their roles and their ability to expand the scope of the work that they give. So kudos to that, because I think that just shows the environment in the entire school.
Well, and I can tell you with just full transparency, many of the teachers in this building could leave tomorrow and make $10,000 to $20,000 more, but they don't. And the why is because of what you just said. Being able to be a true educator and to really be able to teach and feel of value. I think is why a lot of people choose to say.
I love that.
I have a lot of our success coaches that are actually also certified teachers and or are becoming certified teachers, and as a school we encourage that. We're happy to help them to grow in their education too, and we're all learners here.
That was gonna say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're just creating an environment of learning, period. It doesn't start you've got your kindergartners, but it's from kindergartners all the way up through the individuals that are actually working at the school, the people that are here. You're just creating an environment of learning, of growing, and ensuring that everyone is happy.
Yes.
Is that
to the best of my ability? Yes.
That sounds phenomenal. And in that same regard, I wanted to highlight, and we can talk about it. Last year, I read that we had some fourth graders, that were it was the Kid Win Solar Challenge at Penn State, and they won first and second place plus best teamwork,
which was the one I was most proud of.
Talk about
the teamwork, because that's an area kids struggle these days. Being collaborative and working as a group. But yes, big accomplishment for us.
And in how many years? Because you opened your doors to 2021.
Yeah. So
in 3 short years, you have these kids involved and engaged in a statewide, right? Because it was statewide with Penn State challenge. They're winning first and second place plus teamwork. And I believe they went on to the World Challenge in Minneapolis. What happened? How'd it go? What's going on? Let's talk about these kiddos. Amazing.
So again, our teachers are equally amazing here. I've hit the lottery with our staff. So our staff want to do the most, in a good way. And Judy Bauer is our tech ed teacher, and she's very well versed in all the science competitions. Not many hit these younger grade levels, but this particular challenge, it does begin in the 4th grade. And so when we got our 4th grade, we were ready to give it a go.
Okay.
And for us, it was not really about the winning. It was just about the content and the experience.
Right.
And so Judy said, "Are you okay if we give this a go?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'll get the bus."
Yeah.
So we took several teams up to Penn State for the day and, did the whole experience. And they got to go to the Penn State Creamery. That was my first time having that famous ice cream, too. It was delicious. And, but what we didn't expect was that we were going to, as Mr. Hawkins loves to say, mop the floor with our
talk about it,
with our success there.
Yes.
And what the kids had to do in this solar competition, they had to design a structure that within it had a pump, and they had to, capturing the power of the sun, using solar panels, pump a certain volume of water. So the more water you pump, the more sun energy you've captured, and of course, the better your score.
Right.
But there's different components to the competition. You have to talk to the judges. You have to keep scientific notebooks. You have to talk about your design process.
Okay.
And so the students went through all of those motions.
Yeah.
And then at the award ceremony, when our first place team was announced, they were handed this ticket to the World's competition. And full transparency, I didn't even know there was a World's competition. We were just going to Penn State for this experience.
I love it. You're like, we're just enjoying this.
So on the bus ride home, I say to Miss Bauer, "So when is the World's competition?" And she said, "It's in like 31 days. And I said, "How are we going to get these kids to Minneapolis?"
That's exactly it.
So again, I think a hope and a prayer and a lot of community support. We were able to fly 5 students, 5 parents, and 2 staff members to this competition. And there they got to meet people from Mexico, from China. I mean, it was the world.
It was literally the world competition.
Yes. And they competed in activities there. And of course, we had to bring a very large suitcase, bring our 3D, what our students designed. They did a 3D scaled model of our school.
Yes.
They built a rooftop playground, which was solar canopied, and that solar canopy of the playground in their design pumped a water fountain on the property. And
that design.
Yes. And I'm anxious to see how they change it for this year, because we're doing this again.
Are you really?
Absolutely. In March, we're going to be going back to Penn State. And I'm not going to tell you if, I'm going to tell you when we win again, because we do plan on that happening.
No, that's right. Yes.
We'll be going to Phoenix, Arizona this year for the World's competition.
Wow.
But, to me,
that's amazing.
It's so much more than the competition.
I agree.
The trophy in our display cabinet is a wonderful thing to highlight when people want to, get a tour of our school.
Right.
But we had kids that never flew on an airplane before.
Yeah.
We had kids, when we were out there, the host of the Kidwind bought out I can't remember the name of the Major League Baseball team out in Minneapolis, but we went to our first Major League Baseball game and got to,
that was a whole
eat
experience.
fried cheese. I never had fried cheese at a baseball stadium. So, the kids had lots of other experiences. We got some sightseeing opportunities. Prince is from that area, so we got to go see the Prince mural. We got to see some famous art sculptures in a park. So
way to keep it still on brand, though. I love that.
Yeah,
you're exposing them to arts in different areas. You're exposing them to different things. Wow.
And you just said it: exposure, access, and opportunity.
Absolutely.
Putting as many things in front of our students, whether it's we take them there or we bring it to us. Just giving them tastes and flavors of it all.
And that's core memories.
Yeah. Oh, for
these,
sure.
Those are core memories that they will remember forever.
If you talk to those students today, I guarantee one of them would tell you the highlights was the hotel pool.
Okay.
But I think that's realistic to say that some of those students maybe have never stayed in a Marriott hotel
100%.
and got to swim in a pool.
Right.
So talking about all of those memories, there's just so many layers to it.
And not taking any of it for granted.
Yeah.
Like, the fact is that, and that's the reason why I just love kids in general, because they can find the beauty in the most minute things. Like, in the most, you don't even look at it as like, this is something that's life-changing, and then they will completely change your perspective and your mind. I love that. I wanted to just highlight it more so because I think it's an amazing accomplishment to the work that you guys are doing. And it's a testament more than anything else that what you're doing works, because in such a short time, you're able to, like you said, it's not about the trophies, but you're able to compete at high levels. And these are kids that, for lack of a better, they come from areas that other individuals in other areas might just turn backs and say, well, they're the forgotten, or they're the ones that are going to come with the issues, the behaviors, of this and that. And you're showing, proving that give a kid and put them in the right environment and love on them and ensure that they have a good network around them, and you can pull out the best in them.
That sign hangs in our building. It says, prove them wrong.
You better.
And, the kids walk by that sign and see that. And we hope that they feel that and live that, because what you just said is exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we're doing it.
Oh, you're definitely doing it. And in that same regard, I know you and I had spoken off camera, and I wanted to also just highlight it, the importance of creating not only this environment, but then also living up to expectations because of it. And I wanted to just kind of have that conversation, because I think it's important to share that it's okay to have expectations. It's okay to have an individual live up to something, while still loving on them and ensuring that they're in a, safe and cared for environment. So I just wanted to highlight how you feel on that in particular.
Well, I think this goes back to me as a young adult started to get angry with the educational system.
Absolutely.
As a whole.
Yeah.
And I think that as we are presented with challenges, whether it be behavior or funding or, insert challenge here.
Yeah.
We just seem to keep lowering the bar. And at some point, our children say, we're going to just meet you where you put that bar.
Right.
If you're not giving me a lot in, input, I'm not going to give you a lot of output. And so here at PA STEAM, it says it on our building. It says high expectations and unlimited possibilities. And I really take that to heart. Our bar is very high. And I'm going to be honest, we might not be the school for everybody because of that bar.
And that's okay.
And it's okay. But, I would, that's something that I think is important for the community to hear, is that we know your children are capable.
Right.
They are talented and have unlimited opportunity. But we need them to be at our high level of performance. It doesn't mean children have to be perfect.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right, no.
But we believe here very much in it takes a village. And when you sign your student up to PA STEAM, you sign your family up to PA STEAM.
That part.
And we need supportive families that when our students are struggling or when they're succeeding, we need you here for both of those pieces. And I think that, education, we've gotten scared about parents, but I invite our parents. Our doors are wide open to our parents. And I'm going to tell you, we have one of the most solid parent teams. We have a very active PTA here. We have parents that are in every week running, a third small group in classrooms. Just a wonderful, wonderful community. So when you come to PA STEAM, we don't really joke when we say it's another family. It's another piece of your family.
You're living up to, like you said, that it takes a village. And you're ensuring that from that same African proverb of it takes a village, it is the idea of it takes everyone to build one child up and the trajectory where they're headed. And can I just highlight, and I would be daring enough to say that because of the fact that you've risen the bar on the expectation is why you also then have the success that you do on both fronts, having an active PTA, because you have shown we're going to do everything that we can, but we're partners in this. And now parents feel more involved and more engaged because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just kind of just speaking from the heart. But when you know that you're in an environment where they genuinely care about your kid and they're calling you to the carpet and they're saying, look, we're trying to do something together, does that not then lean itself to then just the way you're breaking behaviors from the kids, you're now breaking behaviors from parents? Is that not what you see?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely see it. And I think, if I'm being very, very honest here,
yes,
sometimes there's hesitancy because I don't necessarily look like the community that I serve.
Understood.
And I recognize that.
Yeah.
And I work very hard to make sure that every family member feels seen and heard, just like, you know, our students.
Absolutely.
And we just pour a lot. We also do an activity here. We call it our Empower You. That's our parent education component.
Okay.
And you don't have to come to Empower You because we think you're doing something wrong.
Right.
It's to bolster your own ability to strengthen your parenting, because that nobody gives us a handbook.
Right. Right.
And I'm a mom and I've screwed up a million times, you know, raising my own son. And so, you know, it's nice when what's happened in our Empower You program is our parents have sort of formed their own community within our community.
Yes.
And we're all very different and unique, and it just brings a level of wonderfulness to the conversation.
Does that not create then a holistic approach of looking at something?
Yeah.
Like, you can only see something from your lens. But if you have someone else from a different, like, lens or from a different perspective, like, then you get to see the picture holistically.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. So I could keep on going. Because all right, so I already know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna go ahead and just ask it so that we can highlight all of the amazingness. What sets this school apart from any other school?
I think the heart of all of the staff.
I expected that one.
The culture of our program is what we, you know, pour so very much into. We are not afraid to give hugs and handshakes and high fives here. We want our kids to be, you know, in a space where they not only feel safe, where they not only can learn, but they feel loved. You know, it's important.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that as a society, we've kind of gotten scared to do, to show children that we love them. I can tell another person's child that I love them and mean it.
Absolutely.
And our kids need to hear it, and they need to feel it.
Oh, can we just, and this is actually, like, what you said just really resonated with me, because I was just having a conversation recently about the fact that I personally feel like we have gotten so disconnected from one another. Like, in the day and age with social media, where you technically have a much broader reach, and so the community can feel grander, and yet I feel like we are so individualistic that we've lost community. And I think because of that, people don't know how to love on, to show, and like, how are you bringing that about again? Like, I love that.
That's a big part of our discovery work that we do, that character first. You know, what does it mean to be a friend? And more, what does that look like? What are we doing to really truly show somebody that we're a friend? I'll tell you one of many touching stories of something that happened in a discovery group here once. The conversation came up about having what we need. And the conversation started with roof over our heads, food and clothing, you know, all of the basic necessities. Well, a child shared in that moment that, very vulnerably, I might add, at the end of the month, we run out of money and we don't have a lot of food in our house. And in a situation in many other, you know, schools and experiences that I've been in, I could very easily see that being an opportunity for somebody to laugh, to point a finger, to say, you know, some inappropriate or hurtful comment. But what happened in that discovery group is two other children raised their hand and said, me too.
Oh my God.
We know exactly what that's like. So to take it to the next step, the next day, the teacher comes to me in tears because that child's desk had a mound of food on it. And I fielded calls all morning long from parents saying, hey, my kid just emptied out the kitchen cabinets. Like, is there something that I need to know about? How can I help this family? My kid seems really worried about this kid in his class. That's the heart of it all. We're all worried about what shoes we're wearing and what our hair looks like and if we're wearing the right jacket. But what we should be worrying about is taking care of each other. And we call that our each other's keeper here. We can't be our best unless everybody in our room
Absolutely
is also the best.
Oh my
and
God.
For a child to learn that in the second grade in kindergarten, they might take a few times to practice,
Right.
but eventually that becomes ingrained and part of who they are as a human.
100%.
It needs to be explicitly taught and shown. And schools are too busy teaching to tests, and schools are too busy trying to meet certain mandates.
100%.
And I'm held to all of those mandates
Just
too.
like everyone else, 100%.
But I have been able to see that if we don't put all of the focus here, we will never get where we want on all those other things.
Right.
And our PSSA scores,
Yeah.
the state tests, they're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're pretty good for us just getting started. We can always do better.
100%.
Everybody always wants to grow and continue to do better. But my pride is not in our test scores, but it's in the people that we're growing here.
Character.
Yes.
Like the character that you're creating is going to far surpass. I couldn't tell you my PSSA scores when I was in like fourth, fifth.
It's still traumatic.
You know what I mean? Like all of the tests. Like I grew up in that. I couldn't tell you what they were from way back when, but I can tell you the people that have had lasting impressions in my life. And it sounds like that's what this school is doing.
Yeah.
So what's the future for PA STEAM Academy?
Bigger and better, every year. We'll be adding 6th grade next year. We add a grade level each year. We'll be going up to 8th grade here in this building. I've gotten a lot of comments on, well, what are you going to do for 9th grade?
Yeah.
I think right now that's too lofty of a dream, but it doesn't mean it can't at some point become a reality.
Absolutely.
And I think that, we plan to just always strive to give our kids the best and the newest, and again, back to those experiences. Whatever we can take our kids to and give them those experiences and bring folks in. They've met some tremendous people in our community. We just had a woman who just wrote a book. She's Brazilian and came in and shared about her culture. We had our Black History celebration yesterday. The cuteness
overload. That video was so cute.
But aside from the cuteness and that, they certainly were.
Right.
What an opportunity for our children to see themselves as themselves in this moment, to, recognize the past and see the struggles, but also be able to see their future through these experiences.
Absolutely.
I have a whole building of public speakers now who are so confident to, stand and talk about, something that they've become passionate about.
Yes.
And that's a skill that I think is lacking in a lot of people.
100%.
It's not easy to get up to a microphone and talk in front of a crowd. I've been doing it for a long time. I still don't like it.
Who does?
But our kids are so naturally wonderful at it. And it was a great day yesterday here.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I could talk to you forever on all of this. But I know the time is winding down. So I always ask 2 questions. This next one is, what advice would you give new educators excited to get into the field of education?
If you don't love it and you are not 100% in, and you can't handle chaos from time to time and tears and challenges, it's just not for you.
Right.
And education is not for everybody. So I think my advice would be get as many experiences in schools, volunteer, make sure your student teaching experiences are in diverse environments so you see where you might fit best.
Right.
And just make sure that your heart is all in, because it's not a career we do for money.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot to argue that teachers should be paid double or triple if they were. I've always, my whole career, said kindergarten teachers in particular should get paid double. 25-year-olds is no easy task. But, you just got to make sure that you're in it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my final question before I do my key takeaways, which I am currently trying to wrap around my head, what advice would you give younger you?
Younger me? I I think I have learned to be a better advocate in my old age. And I think as a younger me, I was always nervous to speak my mind. Oh, I had things to say. Remember, I'm salty.
That's what I said. I get it.
I've always had a very strong opinion.
Yes.
And I think as a younger me, was scared to share that opinion because I was afraid of somebody not liking my opinion. And as an adult, especially in this role, I've gotten really good at being okay with people not always being okay with me.
Right.
Because I know my worth. I know where my choices are, the things that I, pick and say and do are for greater purpose.
Amen.
And so I think that would be the biggest piece of advice is just don't be afraid to, when you feel it and you believe it, don't be afraid to speak it.
That's a takeaway right there, guys. Like, woo. Okay. This conversation's been amazing. So I always do key takeaways at the end of the conversation. And so there's so many. But the first key takeaway that I want to highlight, and I'm highlighting this one in particular because I think that it's the foundation. And that key takeaway is character first. Focus on the individual, on the character, on who that person genuinely is, and also building that up, ensuring that it's a person of good character. And I'm doing it like this because it's not me trying to say one is better than the other, but there's certain core values that are just innate. You know what I mean? Having integrity, being neighborly and there for someone, showing heart, showing courage, and pushing yourself, which is that in of itself is going to be a takeaway. That character first is what I really, really resonated with this entire conversation. My second key takeaway is to prove us wrong. It's the idea of, life at times, people, circumstances, people, places, and things. Like those are always the things. Like I come from an addictions background and, mental health and just social services in general. And one of the things they always would tell you to change when you were trying to become better is, to change your people, places, and things. And more than anything, it's when you're trying to prove someone wrong, like you have to really do the work and you have to show up. So prove us wrong. That to me was another big takeaway. My third key takeaway, and you ooze it, and it's your advice that you gave to incoming educators that are looking to get in it. And I think just people again in general, like if you don't have the heart or the passion behind doing something, check yourself, check and make sure that it is, because especially in the realm of education, children are so moldable, so they absorb it all. They absorb not only what you say, but they feel the heart behind your words. They know when individuals are real and when they're not.
Yes.
And when you're looking to build up future individuals, just check your heart. Make sure you've got the heart for it first, because this is it's a very imperative stage in life. You're creating trajectories for individuals. So that's that one. And then my last key takeaway, and I think it's imperative and important for us to all remind ourselves, is that it's okay to hold ourselves to high expectations. Kids, people, everyone, they are going to meet you at the bar you set. And that is okay it is okay for you to set that bar higher. It is okay to have an expectation of greatness, to want the best in an individual, not because they don't think that what you're giving is good, but if they know that there's more in you, raise it, do better, try harder, and do those things in love. So yeah, those are my big key takeaways from this conversation. And it goes so far greater than just this school, but people in general should live from the standards that this school lives by, which is why I believe this school is having the success that it's having. So in that, where can people find you? Like where can we highlight? And then from there, we'll wrap up. Yeah.
So our website is www.pasteam.org. You'll find all that information out there about us.
Yeah.
And you can certainly call us here at the school. You can stop into our office. Our office ladies are lovely and would be happy to help. I'm available I take requests for tours all the time because I think people hear about us, but they want to see it with their own two eyes. And I think that matters because you feel it when you come into our building. So I want everybody to come and have their feels. And, I guess I'll end on, all your takeaways. Come back to another really important saying that we have here at PA Steam. And it's very short and it's very sweet.
Please.
Me is we.
Ooh.
And we live by that here. We're going to make a shirt that says it eventually.
Yeah,
because
love
we say
that
it all the time. And, just know that when you join us at PA Steam, you're no longer a me, you're a we, and
I love that.
We're happy to have you. So come check us out and come on over.
No, 100%. This was fulfilling like no other, guys. Definitely check this school out, especially if you're in the area. So as always, sending light, sending love. Bye.